Well, hello, football fans, and welcome to this edition of the Billy Skinner Lamar Viking Football Coaches Show. I'm Bill Frawley, and with me, as always, of course, head football coach and Lamar High School athletic director Billy Skinner. Coach, how are you today?
I'm good. We're back to work. It's Sunday, and so it's always nice to be back with the staff and be back with the guys. Obviously, Friday was a rough one, and so we take Saturday to kind of, as my wife puts it, it's our morning time, our morning period, and then you just kind of got to put that to bed and get back to work on what's coming up. So it's good to be back to work with our guys.
Well, sure enough, and we'll get to Friday night here in just a little bit because there are some positives to take away, of course, obviously. But so we'll start with Thursday evening, the freshman games at home. I got to do the announcing and had a couple of others of our crew up there. Tony Zimmerman helping with the scoreboard and clock, and then Richie Sherrod came up to help spot. And we just have a big time no matter what game it is. But first of all, the gold team
Yes.
started off. They won, I believe it was 8-0.
Yes, that's correct. They won on a walk off. I say walk off. The game
Yeah.
ended pretty quick after, but a walk off recovered fumble for a touchdown, and that was awesome to see. So very excited for those kids to see them have success and get that. Like I told them, I always send a message to our families on Sundays. They actually got the first win for Lamar football this year. So the freshman gold took care of business. They got that first win for the program, and it was neat just to see our guys how hard they played. And they haven't gotten a bunch of reps up until this point because we go and we play scrimmage, or we go in scrimmage, and those are a limited number of reps. And you've got to split that between 80 kids. And so now it's, hey, this is your team. 40 of you guys getting all what I call a buffet of reps, and they did. They took advantage of it.
Well, they sure did take advantage. It was a well played game and just obviously from the score back and forth till the fourth quarter. And they, like you said, they had the team backed up into their own end of the field. And I was thinking, oh, is there going to be a sack for a safety? Is there going to be a fumble? And then sure enough, it was a fumble recovered by the defense. So the defense got that touchdown. And then right after that, we had the Navy team play their
Yep.
gold team. And holy cow, they came out of the barn like just a group of wild horses. And from the get go, they were dominating.
Oh, and we know that's a special group and all of those things. But what was really cool was how excited they were for each other's success. Um, there it's cool to watch and see guys run for long touchdowns and catch long touchdown passes. It was Deshaun Curley. He scored from three different positions in that game. So he scored from running back, outside receiver, inside receiver. Almost took a fourth touchdown back as a punt returner. And
Yep.
to see guys like J.J. Bass and Samari Wilkins be super fired up for their teammates, like that's culture changing right there. That's what we're most excited about. And having the big time win at 49-0, that's nice and all that, but just seeing how our kids handle it and knowing that they can get even better and knowing that they left some meat on the bone out there and want to improve for each other. It's cool. It's very neat.
And just to make sure people that weren't there are able to understand and comprehend uh, how impact or what a big impact that victory was, it was like 34-36 to nothing at halftime.
That's correct.
I mean, 49-0 is a big win, but when you realize they were 30 something at halftime, and like a lot of times you don't match that and double the score in the second half, but that was an amazing output.
No doubt about it. And if I can back up to that
Yeah, please.
gold team game, you were talking about us thinking it could have been a safety. Well, the defensive coordinator in me, I wanted that safety and I wanted a 2-0 win because how awesome would that have been?
Yeah.
But beggars can't be choosers. I'll take the 8-0 dub.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and then you're afraid if it's 2-0, someone's going to see the score and think, oh, they played baseball instead of
Yeah,
football.
right.
But yeah, what a great deal. Well, tell us a little bit about the JV team's output.
Yeah, so this was another thing that I shared with our families. This is actually the first time since 2019 that we've got two JV teams. We fielded two this year, and our gold team they played that first game and they were super competitive. We ended up losing 7-0. And then our Navy team, they competed. It was a back and forth game, a bunch of explosive plays. Guys like Camille Pruitt, who sometimes he's just a man amongst boys, and Seven Ogletree, who was playing quarterback, and he can keep plays alive and do things like that. And we've got an offensive tackle named Javion Williams in that group that he's a very good offensive tackle, but he's a great team guy. He had a lot of positive things to say about his teammates this week. And even though we came up short on the scoreboard with that group, it's really refreshing to see how competitive they were and how together they stuck.
That's important stuff. And some people go into the whole, oh well, it's a moral victory even if you lose close. I'm not gonna get into all that necessarily, but basically when you can compete and know we're basically just as good as that other team was or is, then that says a lot about momentum and the building of the program, which again, you just mentioned 2 JV teams now. So the Lamar program is at full strength, 2 freshmen, 2 JV, and of course 1 varsity team.
Hmm.
And coach, it's like I said to you before, that says a lot about the players, the families, the coaches, the community buying into your program.
No doubt about it. And we're so appreciative of it. We're appreciative of our families for trusting us with their babies. And that's not something that we take lightly. I know that we provide a service here that the way I like to think of it is we provide customer service that's going to outmatch anybody in the state of Texas. We take care of our kids. We want to take care of our kids, and we want to keep them coming back, and we want their friends to come be a part of the program. So those are things that are extremely important to us here.
Good enough. All right. So as we ease into the talk about the varsity game, Austin Happel, does that name ring a bell with you at all?
Oh, I remember Austin.
He said y'all weren't the same class year, but he played the same time you were playing. Well, he works for T-Mobile now, and they gave us a 5G tower that's helped our internet connectivity for our broadcasts on Friday nights. I mean, we didn't have a single glitch interruption like we've had in the past. So number one, thank you, T-Mobile. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Austin Happel, for making that happen. And I know he had to get some approvals, but he enjoyed the, remembering playing with you and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. He graduated with my brother in 2003. But no, I remember Austin well, and very appreciative to him, very appreciative to T-Mobile for taking care of us. And there's nothing cooler than Vikings taking care of Vikings. And I like to, I don't like calling anyone a former Viking, because this is one of those deals that it's lifetime. And I think this shows that. So Austin working with T-Mobile and taking care of us, it's just Vikings taking care of Vikings, and I love it.
Well, and I asked him during the broadcast, because he came in and visited with us a little bit during the first half. I said, why did you do this? Why did you initiate this? He goes, I want to give back to the program. I want to find some ways to give back to the Lamar school, the program, and everything. So like you said, Vikings taking care of Vikings for sure. Well, so Friday night had the varsity game, home opener, season opener, a lot of fanfare, a lot of fans in the stands. I mean, it was a good, big crowd, and a lot of folks in the visitor stands as well from Keller Timber Creek. The game started off, I mean, pretty even. Few mistakes here, like a drive would kind of peter out because of a turnover or whatever else, or just stop. But and unfortunately, in the second half, it was a different story. But kind of walk us through what you want to walk through, and I sure want to make sure we mention a couple of these freshman varsity players that are already making huge impacts. I'll turn it over to you, Coach.
All right. Yeah. No. I started my staff meeting like this. I'm going to start my team meeting like this. The loss is on me this week. We weren't prepared in the second half. We weren't prepared to go out and take care of business, and we did not go out and take care of business. And so they need more from me. They need more from the leader. And so I will make sure that this week we will be better than we have ever been. And so that's the push for me, as a high expectation, high standard that has to be executed at every moment within our program. I was not good enough this weekend. Our team suffered because of it. So that's our kids. They go out and they play extremely hard, and I'm always going to be extremely proud of them. One of the things that as I go through, I like to reflect on our games and what went well, what didn't go well, and I think a big piece of it for us was the complementary football. Offensively, we started off in our first four drives, we actually were driving it really well, getting it into the red zone, and then just silliness that we didn't execute or a drop pass or whatever it was. And those are killers, but we were using tempo and we were going pretty fast. And well, you use tempo and it's 106 degrees, you're going to get some legs that are tired, and then you wear your guys down, and then your defense is out on the field a little bit more and you wear those guys down. And I feel like we did some really good things. I think I as the head coach got over ambitious with our tempo. I got over ambitious with it, and in the third quarter, fourth quarter, we ran out of gas. And that's a me deal. Like I told you, our kids, they played their hearts out. Our coaches coached their hearts out. We've got to make sure as we sit down and we make our plan, I do a better job of letting the defensive and offensive coordinators know, hey, here is the vision and here's how we're going to make these things match up so that we're taking care of one another and we can finish a game. Because you look down there and it seemed like every other play somebody was going down with a cramp and somebody was going, and it's you play 80 games on a Friday night in 100-degree weather, and those kind of things are going to happen. So we'll go back this week and make sure that we're taking care of one another with our preparation, and we'll take care of one another within the game so that the defense does get a blow and the offense does have a chance to get things going. So again, this is, you never want to drop the first game. You never want to lose in the fashion in which we lost. But I'm a big believer in taking the lessons out of it, shaking the rest of the other stuff off, and moving forward. So I do think that there were some really valuable things learned. And moving forward, we're excited to get going this week.
Well, Coach, I'll agree. And again, as someone just looks at the final score and doesn't bother to look at stats, box score, or wasn't there, it can be kind of misleading. And I'm not just trying to put lipstick on a pig, okay? Oh. But there are a lot of positive things that I saw from up in the booth on Friday night. I mean, there's talent, there's explosive plays. Gannon Carey was putting the ball long distance in the air to the receiver's hands. I mean, which, some of them were missed, all that, but for a first game and all that, people having to come together. And in the first half, it looked like our offensive line owned the line of scrimmage, and so there's a lot of stuff to build on, and I can only see more positive things coming.
No, we're definitely we're not we're not down. We understand. It was an ugly one, but we also know that we're going to take our lesson out of it and we're going to move forward. The message that I will give to the kids this week is it's always darkest before the dawn. And that's something, one of my favorite movies in the world is Dark Knight. And that was one of the things that Commissioner Gordon was telling Rachel. And hey, you know what? It's really bad right now. Things are going poor, whatever it is, something good is about to happen. And I honestly, with all of my being, believe that with our program. We're turning a corner. We're heading in the right direction. And I honestly believe it's going to show up soon. And so it's a dark time. Anytime you lose a game, it's a dark time. But I'm telling you, we're starting to see some sunlight. And so I want our kids to understand that there's going to be light.
Well, definitely. And I'm going to use at least one or two or three names here in a minute, different ways. Ransom Burns, I think he went down twice with leg cramps.
Yep.
All right. And I was talking in the booth on the broadcast. I get a Charlie horse in the middle of the night. I wake up crying just about like, how am I going to get it? And to hear someone like that, and there might have been others that went down twice, but I remember seeing him. He went down and hobbling off, and he's back out on the field again. Yep. And then he gets another cramp later, and he's back out on the field again. That's the VFND spirit. And, Coach, that's what makes me think these guys are not giving up. They know it was a dark time that second half, but there's a lot of fight.
No, I never, ever, ever question toughness with our kids. I never want to with our kids, because like you're saying that, and I'm glad you brought that kid up, because he had just gone down 2 times with cramps and he could barely move on the sideline, and we're getting ready to have to punt. And he looked at me and I was like, hey, we're going to have to go and get our next snapper in. He's like, no, coach, I got it. I'm going to snap. I'm going to make sure it
Wow.
gets back there. He said, I may not be worth a crap getting down the field, but I'm going to do my job. I'm going to make sure I get it there. And the snap is the most important piece on that.
Oh gosh,
And
yeah.
he does. He goes down there. He gets a great snap, and like as he promised, did not get down the field very well, but
But
just
he did
the
what he needed to do.
that's right. And the guts of that kid to want to take care of his team, to want to protect his team and understand, hey, this is a role that's very important for our team. And I take it very serious. And he did. And so so many moments like that. Cooper Barnard's another one of those
That's the
guys
one
that
next name I was going to
he
bring up.
that kid, he only knows one speed. He only knows how to go as fast as humanly possible. And he plays like that every single rep. And so, he gets towards the end of the game, and on that same punt, well, he's the one actually catching that deep snap, and he's the one punting the football.
Yeah.
But those, you got guys like that on your team that will do whatever it takes, no matter what the circumstance is, because it's easy to tap whenever you're down. It's easy to say, no, coach, let's just get ready for next week and line it up. But when you have guys like that and guys like Antonio Johnson, where
Yep.
we're nearing the end of the game, and a big thing for us is PAT block, field goal block. We're going to give everything we've got, no matter what. We're going to go
Right.
try to block it, and he is laying himself out when it's 42-7 or 41-7, and he's still laying out, giving everything he has to go and try to block a PAT. So there's a lot that we can point to and say, hey, that is what this program is supposed to be, and that's what we're all about. And so my goal, my wish is that we don't get ourselves into this hole again. And again, the complementary football will be a huge piece of it, to where we take care of one another. We make sure that we can finish a game healthy
Yeah.
and not cramping and all of those good things.
Well, I think it was Richie Sheridan, our broadcast crew, doing the color commentary Friday night. He mentioned Johnson talking about, it's deep into the game. The big hole has been dug, but he's still laying out, getting so close to trying to block that PAT. And then, you mentioned Cooper Barnard, and I have unofficially nicknamed him the headhunter. That guy is blindsiding the quarterback. Then you
Yep.
see him making a tackle on the sideline. Then you see him catching someone around the end, and of course punting. But that guy is all over the place. I think I saw
He
him
is.
filling a water cooler at one point.
I think he is an actual Viking. I mean, like, I think there's got to be
Yeah,
some
the old.
Viking in his bloodline. I'm just telling you, the dude is different.
Yep. All right. How about Yancey, the freshman?
He's pretty good at football, huh?
Golly,
How about his first touchdown of the year is a 99-yard
99
touchdown?
yards.
I don't
You
know
can't.
any. I don't know if that's a record or not, but I'm going to tell him it is. It's
But
got to be,
it
right?
ties the record because you can't go
No
longer
doubt.
than
That's right.
99 yards on a. Oh, we were talking about that in the booth. You can't go 100 yards on an offensive play, so
That's it.
it
That's
ties
it.
if it's not the original record. Yeah, holy cow!
No, he's a special kid. He's good at football and all of those things. Just very natural pass catcher and all of that. But he does not carry himself like a freshman. I mean, he
Not at
prepares.
all.
He prepares like an older guy, and he's been good for our offense. He's been good for Gannon. He's been a good teammate.
And punt return, kick return. I mean, again, anything to do with catching that ball and moving along.
Yep.
So,
And
all
we
right.
had, I don't know if you know this, we had another freshman out there, a young kid named Braylon Williams.
I meant to mention that also. Thank you for bringing it up. Yep.
He started an inside linebacker for us. And I'm telling you, if you walk up on this kid, so the first time I met him, he was going into 7th grade at
Okay.
Shackelford Junior High. He came up for our workouts, and when he walked in, I was going to point him to our JV. I figured he was going to tell me he was a sophomore. And when they told me he was a 7th grader, like after I picked my jaw up off the floor, I was like, holy, this kid is just different. And now if you walk up on him, you might still think he's a sophomore, except you'll think he's a sophomore at like Texas Tech University. I mean, the kid is just, he's built different. He's extremely strong. He loves football. The kid loves football, and he plays like it. I mean, he plays with his hair on fire. And that's a hard position to be a freshman and play on the varsity, but he's made it. We have no choice. Like he's that kind of player.
Definitely so. Well, what does this week bring about? You've talked about some things y'all are going to work on, even from a coaching standpoint.
Yes.
But what are some other things that are going to be talked about, worked on, preparing for Waxahachie?
Oh yeah. So another one of my notes was this week needs to be Lamar versus Waxahachie and not Lamar versus Waxahachie and Lamar. Some of those mistakes that we made, some of those self-inflicted wounds that we took. I mean, it made life tough on us, and so I have to make more of an emphasis with ball security and those kind of things, and I will make sure that that's something that we are a lot more conscious of. Some procedural things offensively, some procedural things transitioning from offense to punt, and a couple of times we took a delay of game and we wanted it, and one of the times we did not want it. But I mean, we've got to clean that up. I've got to make sure that we're better there. So the big push for us is just that Zoom focus where the Vikings don't beat the Vikings, and so we gotta make sure that we're taking care of our business from an execution standpoint. That's what we're going to work on. We're going to work on just those little details that can win you games or can get you in trouble.
And it sounds like, if I'm hearing it correctly, you're working on refining skills, not really developing skills from scratch, which
No,
is a huge thing.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite quotes from Dabo Sweeney is, "You don't get what you expect, you get what you inspect." And I
Interesting.
think a prime example of that is our receivers blocking on the perimeter. That has been a huge issue for us, really since year one. We've struggled with it, and so that has been not just our emphasis, but that is what we have inspected on a regular basis. We make sure that, hey, we're going to start practice, we're going to finish practice with these blocks. We're going to start practice, we're going to finish practice with us executing and what we call an oh crap block. So somebody drives and I'm late on it, and so well, it's shown up, and Coach Jackson has done such a good job with that receiving core on improving the perimeter blocking. And it comes with the inspection because he often inspects what they are doing and cleans it up immediately. I'm talking about immediate feedback. And so we need to get back to getting what we inspect on the ball security and those kind of things. So we'll definitely spend more time there.
I like that, inspect versus expect. That's a really cool thing. I never heard that one before. Um, yeah, and then you talked last week about call outs, call ups. You talked about peers leading and setting by example. We've talked about some of those Ironmen, basically type players already. One more that I meant to mention earlier, but it's maybe actually be a good time to do it also, is Sidney Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
That guy played tough through an entire game. I mean, I didn't see the stats how many carries he had, but it was a lot.
Yep.
And coach, from where we were up in the booth looking down at the field, you could tell he was driving even until the last carry he had.
Yep.
It was not just, okay, I'll take the ball and
right.
We'll run out the deal. He was fighting for yardage all the way to the end.
Yep. No,
What does that do to the rest of the team?
Yeah, he carried it 24 times, and yeah, it definitely when teammates see other teammates straining and all of those things in that situation, it's obviously going to have a positive impact. It's all it teaches us and teaches our teammates, hey, it doesn't matter the situation. We always have to be our standard. We always have to give everything that we have, and so having that example is good for the teammates. It's good for the young guys. It's good for the two freshmen that we have on the field with us.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's shift over to the week coming up. We've got freshmen at home again Thursday evening. As of right now, back to a 5:30 start for the first game.
We're back to normal. One of the things we are going to do is we're going to include a few official timeouts, and so you'll notice a stoppage in the game when you guys are up in the booth, when you see all of the kids take their helmets off, because that's going to be my expectation of our kids is they take their helmet off. There'll be a 2 or 3 minute water break in each quarter where we're just going to, hey, let's make sure we're hydrating. Let's make sure everybody's good to go. So yes, we're getting back to our normal time, but we're also going to make sure we're continuing to take precautions just to make sure everybody's well taken care of. And we'll do the same for the varsity. We're going to go back to a 7 p.m. kickoff But
Okay.
again, you may see a time where everybody's got their helmet off and they're taking down some water.
And that'll be an official timeout, not
That,
charged to either team.
that's
Everyone's
right. That'll
agreeing on
be
it.
that's
Good.
it. That's it. Yep.
Well, I like that sense of y'all as coaches, the officials, everyone understanding health of the kids first. Make
Yep.
sure they do stay hydrated, minimize the chance of injuries, even if it's simple as a cramp, all the way up to something else because they just gave out. So,
Right.
Okay, and then so JV will be at Waxahachie.
That is correct. And same
5:30
times,
kickoff.
5:30 kickoff, 7 p.m. kickoff.
Okay, and then back at Cravens Field for game 2, hosting Waxahachie varsity, 7 p.m.
Yes.
Tell us how big it is. We've said it before, but how big is it to have that crowd in the stands making noise?
I'm telling you, it's special. It felt electric on Friday, and I want to pack the stands again. It brings something to our kids. It brings something to the excitement of the game. I mean, it's Friday Night Lights, and it feels like it's been 3 years since we've been together playing football. So use that energy and bring it out and come support.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Booster Club. I assume they're still, and you and the team, taking sport drink donations, regardless of the brand.
Yes, and I've got to give a shout out to our community and to our family members. I mean, we make that call, and I'm making it again. So please, if you feel it in your heart, donate. But it seems like every time we do, that they step up and they make sure that they're taking care of us. We've got 5 teams, and this is a new deal. We've got an additional, essentially, we've got an additional 45 to 50 kids that we're taking care of with Gatorades, and so with sports drinks. So thank you to all of you who have donated, and thank you for those who feel compelled to do so again.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the Booster Club overall?
You know what? It has been incredible to see the growth of our Booster Club. We started when I first got here as we had a board, and we started seeing the membership grow. And this year now we've got our board and we've got subcommittees, which is incredible. We've got so many people taking ownership of little pieces of our Booster Club. And I want our families to know that whatever you can do within our Booster Club, we need you, whether it's helping with spirit wear and concessions, or if you just want to join the group. And that's what we've made a push for, is we want everybody that is involved in our program. We want you to join our Booster Club, and there's different levels. You can do it all the way at the highest, or I mean, we've even got a volunteer level where you're just saying, hey, I'll commit to volunteering 4 hours, and by doing that, you are now a member of our Booster Club. And I think it's important for our kids to see their families around. And I'll tell you this, we did something brand new this week. We did decals with dads and mentors. And it was, I get chills thinking about it. And I get emotional thinking about it, because you see so many people, so many dads, so many mentors, so many people around our program that wanted to be here for their kids. It was standing room only. And it was awesome just to see dads helping put on the decals, and to see our kids beaming like, that's Pops right there. That's my mentor right there. And so that was special. And so just things like that. It helps us when people join our Booster Club, and it helps us when people are active within what we do here.
Well, what a great way to connect off the field and on the field affirmations together. I love that program. Good. Well, Coach, anything else to add before we close off for this week?
No, I want to see everybody out at the game on Friday, and I can't wait. I can't wait for our kids to take the field, for you to see us, and I can't wait for them to have an opportunity to truly show what VFND is about, because that's what this week is for.
Sounds great. Well, until next week, I'm Bill Frawley with head football coach Billy Skinner saying VFND.
VFND.